Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Tyler from the Keep Pounding podcast. Hope you guys are doing well. And today I want to cover and go over a topic as far as is Icky and Xavier Legette, will they be on the team coming in after this season? So we're going to go over my thoughts on that. There's a lot of speculation amongst Panther fans, and I have my thoughts on it as well. But with Icky's situation with his knee and XL, are these players that possibly, you know, be on the team next season or possibly even this season? So I want to go over, are they going to be are they going to be a part of the future, or are we going to move on from them? And just how the draft, uh, what's gone on in the off season and the draft does that. Are these signs that, hey, we're moving in a different direction? So if you're new to the podcast, you're not a subscriber, hit the like button, hit the notification bell, leave a comment. Let me know what your thoughts are and what you think the Panthers will do with Icky and XL moving forward after this season, and subscribe to the channel. So before we get into the content, I want to go over some Panther news here. Most recently, we finally picked up Bryce Young's 5th-year option. So Bryce Young, this keeps him through the 2027 season. He gets $25.9 million guaranteed. And last season, he had a really good year. I think how he played last year really warrants us picking up the 5th-year option. He had over 3,000 passing yards, which was a career high, 23 touchdowns, over 63% completion percentage, pass rating over 87. And he has, since 2023, he has had 13 game-winning drives. 6 of them were last year, and he's first in the NFL in these game-winning drives since 2023. So he has earned, and it makes sense why we pick up the 5th-year option. Now, I've seen people people that have made comments about, we should resign him now. We should do a contract extension now. It's going to cost money later on. Well, when you make a big investment, specifically in the quarterback position, but it's going to cost roughly $45 to $50 million a year. That's average quarterback starting money. If you're going to put an investment like that, you need to make sure he's the guy. And he's trajectorying upwards, but he is not there yet. There's still a lot of inconsistencies. We're talking midway through the season. Is he even our quarterback moving forward? Is he holding the team back? I even made a video about that, talking about was he holding the team back? And part of it was he was inconsistent. But to be fair, yes, a part of it was him, but also Dave Canales' play calling. We saw last year that when Dave Canales took the handcuffs off of Bryce Young and allowed him to throw the football, i.e., the Rams game last year, both in the regular season and the playoffs, we saw him ball out. The offense looked totally different. And there was other games where Dave Canales played very conservative. You could tell he was playing not to lose, and Bryce Young didn't look great. So I think a part of it is, he's still maturing and developing as a quarterback, but the other part is, will Brad Idzik and Dave Canales essentially too, but Brad Idzik being the offensive coordinator, will they allow him to throw the ball down the field more often? And again, there's quite a few games where it was very minimal down the field. They didn't take that many shots. They're running the football a lot more, like the Niners game on Monday Night Football, right? There's quite a few games where, yes, Bryce Young didn't play well, but did Dave Canales put Bryce Young in a position to succeed? So there's a lot on riding this season. After the season is over, what are they going to do? And it's going to obviously depend on how much and how well he plays this season. Now, if he has a season like he did last year, it's still a question mark. As far as you want to see him, how he played the last several games of the season, back half of the season, and this is how it was the last year as well, where we had nothing to lose. Dave Canales his play calling was a little bit more aggressive, and he played well. And then we saw it as, last year, back half of the season, where we're like, hey, we need to win football games, and he played well. So hopefully he can put together a complete season, and that's going to obviously warrant, that contract extension. But if he plays very poorly, if he doesn't play well, doesn't progress, or even takes a step back, that's going, we still have him through the 2027 season, but there's still that possibility where, do they draft another quarterback or do they go a different direction? So there's a lot riding on this year. It's a very important year for Bryce. I believe he's going to take a step forward and continue to play well. It's just more the consistency. We need to see consistency. That's the biggest thing. That's what we're looking for last year. There's context to why he was inconsistent, but a part of it is him as well. So, uh, you know, officially picked up Bryce Young's fifth year option. $25.9 million is not expensive for a decent quarterback. So we got until 2027, and then after the season, that's when we'll start having the conversation. Does he warrant a contract extension? Okay, so I want to go into Ickey's future. Both Icky and XL, are they going to be around this season and next season? And there's a lot of context to it. So the reason why I'm bringing this up is because obviously he tore his patellar tendon with the Rams January 10th in the playoff game, right? Early in the first quarter, tore his patellar tendon, and he was due for a big contract extension. He's been playing very well. Now, he gave up last year 5 sacks, 40 total pressures. He had a 67.3 PFF passing grade, which ranks him 49 out of 89 qualifying left tackles. It's not great, but it's not terrible either. And he has been progressing and getting better at pass blocking. We didn't really mention his name that much last year. He had a few penalties, a handful of penalties, but overall had a 70.6 PFF grade. Now, can you get better than that? Sure, but I feel like he was still not at his prime yet, but he was getting better and better. And I do believe the Panthers, if he didn't get injured last season in the playoff game versus the Rams, we have already extended him. And so this is horrible timing on Nicky's part. Like, and obviously not his fault, but this can come at a worse time where he was looking to get a very big bag, contract extension. But you add the context of him getting injured, and then also it's the patellar tendon. It's a rupture. Offensive linemen with knee injuries, it's not great. Sometimes they can't get back to 100%. So they still don't even have a timeline. And then obviously after this year, you know, what are we going to do? We have to make a decision whether we're going to sign him or release him. You can't really trade him because he's still injured. No team's going to take that. And I just don't see us trading him before the trade deadline and a team being interested. So, but with the patellar tendon injury, and then we're already spending over $80 million on the offensive line this year. We're paying $88.43 million, and that's, I'm pretty sure, before we pay Monroe Freeling. So when who we obviously drafted, Monroe Freeling, yes, he can be a swing tackle, but he primarily plays the left tackle position. So when you add the injury, can he get back to how he was playing before the injury? How much we're spending at the offensive line already, and then drafting Monroe Freeling. The writing is on the wall that, in my opinion, I don't think he's going to play another snap for the Carolina Panthers. I don't think it's going to happen this season. And it would make sense for him, like if he doesn't get a contract extension, or him and his agent may say, hey, like, let's get healthy for next off season. But I've seen people put it out there like, oh, let's cut Damian Lewis and re-sign Icky, and he can play left guard like he did at NC State. That's not happening. The people that think that need to stop smoking, because why would we cut Damian Lewis, the best offensive lineman that we have? He's actually due for an extension. If anything, not that I'm advocating it, it should be Robert Hunt with the injuries, right? But Damian Lewis has been the most consistent offensive lineman that we've had since we picked him up in 2024 in the offseason. He's been healthy. Yeah, he's had a few injuries, but primarily he's been healthy and he's played solid. So the people saying that we should cut Damian Lewis and put Icky at left guard, that's not it. That will not happen. I can guarantee you that that's not going to happen. You're not going to move your best offensive lineman. Yes, you're paying him more money. We're not going to cut him and then put an injury-prone player at left guard that hasn't played since college. That's not happening. So the people that have been saying that, That's not going to happen. So my opinion on this is I do believe that I think that Icky is going to probably not play another down. In my opinion, I just don't think it's going to happen. Um, Now, speaking of XL, I don't have a slide for XL. Been busy today, but we sign. We given the circumstances with Ikem Ekwonu, we signed Monroe or we picked up Monroe Freeling in the draft. We also picked up Chris Brazel in the third round, who is the exact same skill set as Xavier Legette. They both run a late 4.3. They're both 6'4", 6'5". They're big bodied. And the Panthers, they can say that they believe in XL, that they want him to they still think that he can make that next step. If they really believe that, they wouldn't have drafted Chris Brazel in round 3 with the same skill set. Now, I've mentioned in previous videos that a part of that isn't all XL's fault. Now, a big part of it is, but I do think the way that they used him was not to the best, they didn't put him in the best position to succeed, right? XL, he doesn't have very quick acceleration, but once he gets to that second level, he's dangerous up the field. And now now you're using him as a screen quick slant guy where you need to utilize him and to stretch the field. And Canals didn't do that. Now, again, we have Brad Idzik. Can he maybe put him in a better position to succeed? Talking about XL, sure. But given the fact that XL's he hasn't really even plateaued. He's kind of regressing. We saw glimpses in his rookie year of XL playing very well. He had some key drops, right? He had some key drops. There's 2 drops specifically that if he catches those, the Eagles game, and I can't remember the other one that slips my mind, but if he makes those plays, you're like, hey, we have a future possible number 1. But he doesn't, and then also is kind of regressing, and you didn't see that progression in year 2 and year 3 of last year. So given that, and then also he was on Cam Newton's podcast talking about, well, he pretty much called out the coaching staff, said that, oh, they didn't put me in a position to succeed. Bro, you can't say that. And then in the same breath say, well, I don't really sit down with Bryce and hash out and try to discuss what I need to do for you to trust me to get better and just try to work on that chemistry and that connection. You didn't do that. You admitted on the podcast that you didn't do that. So you can't complain that in one breath that you're not getting put in the same position, or you're not getting put in the position to succeed, but you're also not doing what you need to do to succeed as well. So just given the fact that he's regressing, you just picked up Chris Brazel from Tennessee, the speedster, and then you picked up John Mechie in the slot. You had an undrafted free agent in Jalen Coker that beat you out a wide receiver 2, which he should have been wide receiver 2 halfway through the season, not the last game of the season or into the playoffs versus the Rams. The writing is on the wall too that it would not surprise me if we trade him. We have shown that we can trade players, specifically the wide receiver room, and get compensation for them that are not contributing, i.e. Jonathan Mingo. I mean, we got rid of Adam Thielen too. He was contributing, but we wanted him to kind of set aside so that way Jalen Coker can do what he did last season. But Dan Morgan and Brandon Tillis have shown that they can get some draft capital out of those players. So it wouldn't surprise me if we can get maybe a 4th or a 5th round out of XL for a wide receiver needy team that's going in OTAs or training camp. He still has another couple of years. He's on his rookie contract, so if there's a team that believes that they can untap that potential, because he has the skill set, he has the traits. It's just, to me, it's all mental with him. And I think, I'm not in the locker room with him, obviously, but it just seems like he's not putting that energy that he needs to in order to be successful on the field. Again, he admitted that he wasn't really talking and communicating with Bryce. So if you're not doing that, how much are you really trying to improve your game? So, but I think the writing's on the wall with XL. I do think it wouldn't surprise me if he gets cut or traded this offseason. before the season's over or even the trade deadline. But even if we do keep him throughout the year, we're not picking his 5th-year option unless something drastically changes, what I don't see. I think the Panthers, if we do keep him this season, that they'll utilize him, but they're not going to give him as many opportunities as they did last year. Not it'll be his role will be drastically diminished. He'll still have a role in this offense if he stays, but it's going to be a drastic difference, drastic compared to last year. Um, I think they'll rotate him out with like Xavier Legette, or sorry, Chris Brazel, Jalen Coker, maybe. But I just don't see him getting the opportunities and to possibly even win wide receiver two back, which I don't, even if he got the opportunity to do that, I don't see that happening, but I don't see them even giving him the opportunity to do that. So, um, yeah, I do think that Icky and XL after this season, I don't think you'll see them on the roster anymore. I mean, we didn't really talk about this before, but I think Mike Jackson's someone that you're not going to see on the roster next year just due to cap reasons. He got a new agent. He's wanting to get paid a lot of money, and I don't think we really have we could technically free up some money with some restructures and some extensions, sure. But I think we are trying to maybe look, you know, I think we could. I think we're looking a different direction. Um, but yeah, I just don't see XL. What's up, Dom? Good to see you. Good to see you, bro. Yeah, I just don't. I just see XL out of here, and I see Icky out of here. I just don't see a world where Icky stays, and I like Icky. I really do. I'm not rooting for him to leave, but unless you give us a team friendly deal, like a 1-2 year prove it deal, and you have you know, maybe you do a 2-year prove it deal and you have Monroe Freeling at left, or you switch him to the right side. Because I do think Taylor Moton, he's aging, but he's gonna be around the year 2027 as well. So like you have this year and next year that he has left, and I just don't. If Taylor Moton was out after this year, I would say there's a possibility that you could re-sign Icky to approve a deal, and then you have Monroe Freeling on the right. But I just think that's too complicated and too messy. Like you have a young guy that can be a Lane Johnson Pro Bowler left tackle that you just drafted. I just think that you learn at that position, you stay at that position, and get the reps. I just think it's too messy to even do that. It's even having Monroe Freeling be a swing and having Icky at left, but we'll see. But in my opinion, I just think it makes all the sense in the world from the injury perspective, how much we're spending. We drafted Monroe Freeling. It just makes sense that Icky's out of here. And then same thing with XL. XL has been regressing. You saw last year there was plenty of times that XL was actually open, but Bryce didn't look his way because he doesn't trust him. And if your quarterback doesn't trust you, what good are you on the team? If you're not really even with the targets that you get, you had a pretty high drop percentage, and then the guy we just drafted in Chris Brazel in round 3, he's got a very low drop percentage. So, with all those, all that context and putting it together, it just makes sense that XL I think will be out of here. Again, it wouldn't surprise me if he is traded, but I think after this year, I think you cut ties with him. So, but yeah, I just want to get on here, quick, kind of go over my thoughts with that. Nothing too crazy. It's the off season. It's not that busy, but looking forward to mini camp, training camp, OTAs, all that stuff, and then we'll, looking forward to seeing how what camp battles pop up. Lee Hunter and Bobby Brown the third and Turk Wharton. I'm really excited to see how that rotation goes. Obviously Monroe Freeling I still think Monroe Freeling can possibly beat out Rasheed Walker. I think it's probably not likely that Monroe Freeling starts week 1, but I do think maybe early midseason to midseason that they start putting him into left tackle a little bit more, and then he eventually I think will earn that starting role because we're paying Rasheed Walker only $4 million. That's cheap that's cheap backup left tackle money. So just want to make a quick video again. If you guys haven't already, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, get in the comments, tell me what your thoughts are about, do you think Icky will stay on the team after this year, or do you think we'll trade or not trade him but cut him, and if we do sign Icky, do you think it'll be left tackle? Do you think they'll put him in left guard? I don't think so. But let me know what your thoughts are. Same thing with XL. Do you think XL will be traded this season? Do you think he'll be on the roster next year? please you give me your opinions. I love being to having a good, healthy debate with you guys. So thank you guys for watching. Appreciate it. Keep pounding. Peace.